All right, everybody. It's Monday. It's the Not So Live show. And once again, two of my favorite people are back. Cheryl Snow is here. Ugly Dave is here. And we're going to play a game called Choose Your Own Over-Exaggerated Headline this morning. There's a few to go through. So here's your options, okay? And I'll let you guys decide. You two will decide. Okay, your first option is tickets are too hard to get. The second one is racing in the rain is stupid. The third one is that course was way too fast. And I think I forgot what the fourth one is. So which of those over-exaggerated headlines would you like to start with? Tickets are too damn hard. Races is too fast. Racing in the rain is stupid. Which three would you like to start with? Which one of those?
Oh,
they're both being generous to the other person. So Cheryl, you go first, and then Dave will pick as well.
I will say it's almost like choosing which of your children you love the most. It's really hard to quantify that. I think we could start chronologically, and I would say that I am frustrated. I mean, because look, I'll say I was just talking to my husband about whether or not we're going to DEKA Worlds, and one of the conversations was it's not on the same weekend as Anaheim Hyrox, and I may not get into Anaheim Hyrox. Like, there's a legitimate concern now that I may want to race and I may not be able to race. So let's talk Toronto.
Dave, any objections?
No, I'm familiar with Toronto.
Well, then Toronto it is. And I think the first thing I want to say is it used to be like, listen, if you want to go to Rox Tickets, you'll find them. Nicole and Rebecca Hammond are both perfect examples of that, because they knew nothing, and they messaged me a lot and they wanted to go, and I go, you'll be able to go, just go on that site. And they both got last minute tickets, air quotes. So we don't know how this new system is going to work of people decide not to go, so they go back in the queue, and then they release more and we play the same game again of I'm desperate to get in. So we don't know yet.
There's an official waiting list you have to be on.
Starting now, or once it goes back into the queue?
So now you sign up for the waiting list now, or should I say last week?
Didn't even know that. How did I not know that?
10,000 on last week, or if I didn't sign up.
They had it. The Hyrox CA had it up on their stories to sign up for the waiting list.
Well, thank God it was on their stories.
Yeah,
we only lived for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
it's Yeah, Cheryl, you picked it, so you start, and then I'll chime in. But
here's what I'll say. So I'm Pacific time zone in the United States, so the world has already been rolling by the time I wake up. And the husband and I, we have a rhythm. You know, you wake up in the morning and then you bring up your screen and you start scrolling. And I've got texts from people last Tuesday saying, hey, you want to do Toronto? And I had never even thought of doing Toronto, because I don't know, it's Toronto. It hadn't really been on my radar. But as soon as you start having people asking you if you're going to do Toronto, and I turned to the husband and I'm like, what do you think about Toronto? He's like, I've never been to Toronto. I'd love to go to Toronto. And all of a sudden, I want to go to Toronto. So I go to the link that I have received as, proprietary, being part of some coaching program so that I feel like a VIP. And I'm 3,208 on the list, and go work out. And 2 hours later, I come back and I'm down to like 2,200, and everybody's saying it's not working. And I go from being a perfectly happy human being, waking up, to then deciding I want something, and it just stole all my joy, right? Like, it's just making me question, when is somebody else going to come up with a race? When are we going to have options so that we don't have to be at the mercy of this kind of thing? Because I'm not a big fan of waiting in lines. It really bothers me. So that's all I'll say.
I wasn't as bothered. So I was in on the early bird thing too. And I wasn't as bothered by the 3,000 or however many people wait. That didn't bother me, because it is what it is. What was bothering me was the same thing that was bothering a lot of people. And Matt, I think you fell victim to this too. Is 3,000, 2,000, 1,500, 1,000, 500, 20, 2, 1, 3,500.
Yeah.
And multiple times. And I mean, clearly, and I was really feeling for Jay Muscard, especially because I'm sure his phone was just blowing up completely. But yeah, there was some kind of glitch in the system, and it was not working. And I think people were spending like 5, 6, 7 hours trying to get their thing to work. And some of them, then by the time it started working, everything was gone. And so people were out of luck. So like, don't worry about it. In 2 days, the regular sale is going to go on and it'll be good. And then in 2 days, same thing. You get in there, it's telling you it's already sold out. Like people who, there was more glitches in the system again. And I know a lot of people that trained all year at affiliate gyms, right, who were supposed to get the early codes, got shut out. And I know there were some affiliate gyms entirely who didn't get a single person from their gym able to sign up.
So Dave, you're saying that this is just a glitch. It's not how it's going to go, because it feels like this is how it's going to go.
Well, no, the big lines and all that, yeah, that'll go. The getting kicked back to the back of the line again, that part was the glitch. I don't know, like, for example, I don't know how many tickets they gave to the kind of affiliate sale, as opposed to how many they held back for the general public. But it sure seemed like those general public ones were gone instantly, especially if you were interested in female pro. Like, I was very early on getting in on that second day to try to help some people. And yeah, just gone.
Yeah, that's the part that I think I'm most concerned about is, did they, in fact, accidentally sell all the tickets? Did they do something where it was? Because I have seen, I forget which race. Maybe it was. I forget which one. Another one that I tried to buy previously in Europe. I was looking at it, and they were out. And then when they did them back, there were more tickets. Or maybe it was the Atlanta actually pre-sale. I think the Atlanta pre-sale sold out, and then the regular ones were fine. So I don't know if that was the glitch. I think the most disheartening part for me is no official word on that, right? Like I was trying all day. I was messaging you, and I was messaging Amber, and it's like, okay, I got back down to 0, and it kicked me back out. Okay, I'll try it again. And then every few hours, I would kind of try it again and walk away from my browser and look back. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm giving up tomorrow. I'm giving up. I'm going to try tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because clearly something's wrong. And no word came out. Just people were saying, oh, it's a different link. And it's like, okay, well, why isn't that being communicated, right? Yeah. So I was sent a link from a person that shall remain nameless, and I got in right away. There wasn't even a line. It was, you are being taken to the thing, and I bought my doubles ticket, and I think I was going to buy a singles too, but yeah, I just bought a doubles ticket and I was done. And so then Thursday, just for shits and giggles, I went and looked, and yes, they were already all gone. So again, a nice word to come out from them saying, really sorry, but here's what happened, and we'll be doing it in the future. But we're all just like, shrug emoji.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think you're right. Like, I mean, and we talked about this with Spartan before. A lot of times, the communication, like, just if there's a glitch, if something's going on, great, let us know. Like, let the general public know this is a problem right now. Just bear with it, whatever, we're working on it. Anything, right? Just get that communique out. And I do think Hyrox CA did put up a story of some kind on the initial day. And I mean, yes, that's the problem. The stories are gone, and that's if you're looking for it and whatnot. And you know, it definitely, the communication could have been better on it. But yeah,
they had our email addresses for every race, because I get marketing for those races and those gyms and those cities for every race I've done, to just say, and I get it, while they're solving it, just solve it, right? Like, they're getting emails, people are freaking out, every local manager, every email, every Instagram, whatever is blowing up. But once they solve it, okay, we've solved it. Here's the email. Sorry about this morning. Here's the right link. I shouldn't have to be lucky that I happen to know a guy who knows a fucking guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it did seem like it was how you logged in. If you had an open browser, if you
somebody said try Safari. I tried Safari. It didn't work. I tried mobile. I tried desktop. I tried them all. And
I tried the incognito thing.
No, that's how I got in the first time, was like, it just wasn't even a link at all. And then it was like, oh, go in incognito browser. I actually told someone to do that. And then someone told me to try Safari. So yeah, you shouldn't have to be an internet expert. One should be able to buy a ticket. Again, and we're people who actually, like, are in the world. Imagine you're like a regular person that's just like, oh, I've heard of Hyrox, I'd like to try it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen anymore.
No.
And it's just sad.
And that's the thing. Like I feel for so many people I know personally who have trained all year in anticipation for Toronto because this is where they are, this is where they live, and they can't afford to go to Miami, to England, to LA, to Anaheim, to even to Chicago, whatever. They can't, like that's just not feasible for them. And they train all year for it, and they go to the gym, and they sign up to the affiliate, and they do everything they're supposed to do, and they buy the merch, and they are left out in the cold. And if they didn't jump on it, right? If they had just, oh, I'll buy tickets later this week or whatever, great, that's your fault. But they were on the moment it opened up for pre-sale. They were there.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't get in. And
don't we want a race that maybe it takes 2 weeks or 3 weeks to fill up? I mean, wouldn't that be nice to not have to just sort of stop your life and hope that it all works? What is your solution, Dave, to those people?
do something else.
What?
It's the only solution you can do,
right?
But what? And that's why, like, I know Bethany and I have been talking, and we're like, we need to, because I know a lot of people in her gym got left out in the cold, and we're like, okay, well, we need to set up an event for them to do because they've worked so hard and they need something to do to get by. A lot of the people in Canada are complaining. They're like, we're a massive country. Clearly the demand is there, and you gave us one event.
Yeah.
And that's been a big complaint. And, in a way, I do still sympathize with Hyrox work, and people don't get a lot of people that it's more than just saying, hey, let's do one here, 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 and here. I mean, there's logistics, there's signing contracts, there's politics.
They have had a few years to figure it out, though. Now
I know, but I'm just saying that there's a little more to it than just, hey, let's do one in Montreal, one in Toronto, one in Vancouver. There's a lot of wheels in motion to make it happen. But yeah, we should have had more than one. The States should have more than that.
So this season, okay.
Yeah.
You saw my post today. There's 4 events left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on the year, that brings us to, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Including the world champs, 77 races this season.
Yeah.
So Canada got 1 and America got 7. I mean, in the season, like, I know we're already looking at next season, but so yeah, like, let's go.
Yeah.
Right. Let Brazil wait a few more months.
But what about Latvia?
Right. Yeah.
I asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, I'm posting this event that it's going to happen in Bangkok, Hong Kong, Cardiff, and Riga. Should I put Riga, Latvia, even though none of the other cities have thing? And it's like, yeah, you probably should. And I'm like, no one actually knows where Latvia is either. So adding the Latvia to the Riga didn't help anybody. Right. Maybe Europeans know where it is. But yes, the tiny country of listen, right. That might be where we're going to go. That's where we got to get our qual times, guys. Look for these tiny countries. Let's go.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
we need to go way far.
Cheryl, I guess what I'm curious, Cheryl, you seem to be very like legit upset and like almost taking it personally. But is it Hyrox's fault that they're so popular? I mean, yes, the links suck and that part is ugly, but like, it's not, is it their fault that people want to do this race that bad and they can only put so many people through the event in 3 days?
Well, layer on to that, you guys talking about, you guys complaining about how they should have been more communicative and they should have, all that. No, they don't have to do anything. They literally don't have to do anything. We are going to do whatever they want and their events are going to fill up immediately. And I guess it's interesting you say I take it personally because I usually take things personally, but I think that I'm just kind of reflecting, just like what Dave's talking about, the people that he knows who are training for an event. We want something on the calendar to give us something to work toward. And I want something on the calendar to give me something to work toward. And I don't want it to be something where I hope then that I can actually do the event. And so, come on, Nike. I don't know, anybody, throw me a bone. Give me something, right?
That's what I've been saying.
Somebody's got to come up with an alternative so that people like me who just don't want to deal with all this can find something else where they can feel great about themselves to do an event.
So here's my question, though, and we'll use Toronto as a specific example. This happening with Toronto and people getting shut out and left out in the cold and all that, does that mean next year those people will be more diligent and more this and more that? Or does that turn off 10,000 people and say next year, like, fuck it, I'm not going to bother? Because it could do one or the other, right?
Probably depends if you take it personally or not.
Well, this idea of putting on the sim, which I've heard conflicting stories because at first it was they wasn't going to allow it, and now they clearly are allowing it. So if you can do one, if you can rent if somebody can rent a facility and say, yeah, this isn't an official Hyrox event, but you get to do these exercises, I think people will do them.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, and they're substantially cheaper, right? So, but
Well, you wouldn't, Cheryl, but there are people who don't necessarily have the travel budget you have. I'm not judging. I'm just saying people who like just, hey, it's Toronto or not, and so that's what they're going to do. And they're like, hey, there's one up the street from me or one from a half an hour drive, just like I normally do my DEKA strong anyway. Fuck it, like I'll go.
Yeah, I think for me, it's not about the travel budget. It's about the event itself. That I just
They
don't know.
don't have the same. Their options are smaller because for them to fly to wherever is a much bigger expense, and so they were hoping to do one in their own town.
Yes,
right?
I know what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that for me, if I have the difference between, say, a DECA mile and a Hyrox sim at some random gym, I'm going to pick the DECA mile.
and I think maybe a way to
What's
relate
in your
that or to compare that is seeing a real band versus seeing a cover band.
Right. Feels like a cover band. I'm not that interested. I want to be part of the show, and that's the motivation for me. Right? It's not just showing up at a gym and doing a workout with my friends. It's about, having the motivation to push myself, to show up on a leaderboard, to do something, that is of consequence. And that's what I'm looking for.
The
So
leaderboard is huge.
it is. It
The
is.
leaderboard for all these things is massive. It puts it on a different level. It changes it from an isolated event to a worldwide thing.
I think I hear what you're saying, and I love the cover band analogy. Almost as good as pilot co-pilot, which appears to be taken off. People have been messaging me about that. I think that because we're at peak fitness racing, I think so many people will. I think the fact that we keep seeing gyms like the Training Lab, which is this big Hyrox gym in New York, like they just became a DECA gym, and they probably could have before and probably passed on it, but then with Hyrox is so crazy and so nuts and so like fuck it, let's add. Now we're gonna add DECA. So I think people will do gym events wherever they. Did you do order just a box of cereal?
No, this is fine.
Oh, okay. I peeked into the bag and it's a box. I'm like, did you order a delivery from Amazon for just one box? There's other stuff in there. Anyway, I think like if someone put on a Hyrox sim, I'm trying to think the number of minutes I would drive. As many as I would drive for a strong, I would go 45 minutes for a Hyrox sim.
Would you?
45 minutes? Yeah, 45 minutes for me. That's no problem too, right? That's not even getting to work. But
right.
Like I
feel like I would because I like the idea of the test, and I think even if it was like a half, I probably might do it. Right?
So
like
I'm
the
going,
Hyrox.
and I agree. I would drive for one of those things, but I'm driving further for a strong or a mile gym event because there is that leaderboard.
Right.
Whereas, and if Hyrox was, I think Hyrox smart move would be, and I've said this for a long time, make the PFT legit. And start a real leaderboard, treat it like a legit event.
I think that train has left the station.
It's too late now.
Get that one back in the bottle. I mean, they could if they didn't have 20 other things to do.
But I'm tired of being right.
Cheryl, if Rhino or another big gym put on like a half and they rented it 30 minutes within wherever the hell you live, like you wouldn't go to it, and it was $50.
Okay, so if it was 50, and even if I don't know about the price, I actually wouldn't worry so much about the price. I think I would. If it was a Hyrox and it was like a timed event where it was maybe like a local competition, right? Where they had a little podium and and we had to try. I'd probably be up for that. I just think what we're talking about here is options. Give us options, right? Let's not have this thing be the only thing that we're looking toward, because then we're just at the mercy of whatever they do. Could they have added a weekend in Toronto? Yeah, they could have just stayed at the same spot, had 2 weekends worth. Like they could start.
Ooh, like Spartan Tri-State old days, back-to-back weekends.
Oh, is that what they did?
Oh yeah, that was a big deal. It was a very, very big deal.
I mean, the truck's there, just let them.
Yeah, I'd love to know. Now that I think about it, that actually makes sense because again, in Europe, there's some conflicting like schedules and trucks. North America must only have one truck, right? So they have plenty of time. I mean, the fact that they did Miami and Atlanta back to back was probably pushing it, but everywhere else they've got all this time to do. And again, here's what's so interesting, and I kept saying it: Atlanta did not sell out.
Mhm.
People could have gone to that event and they passed. Is it because they already signed up for Miami? Is it because it was announced too late? Like, why were there still tickets available here, right? Major hub of the country, and Toronto was like beyond sold out, like beyond in seconds sold out. Like I don't even I still don't understand.
But if it had been Toronto and New York, just what, a week or two apart, I wonder.
Well,
that
New York's
would
too
have
big. I think New York would have sold out regardless. But
Yeah,
if it was Toronto, Boston, maybe.
I still
Yes,
think that
exactly.
because
That's
like
what I'm saying is when you have two major markets so close together, I would suspect that, we're still not to the place
they're
where they.
still 9-hour drive apart.
Oh, is that a 9-hour drive?
Yeah, it's a
Atlanta,
9-hour.
Miami is, yeah.
Okay.
No, Toronto, New York, Toronto, Boston's a 9-hour drive.
Right, but it's a 1-hour flight.
Yeah, I guess so. But
Atlanta and Miami is like a 1-hour flight. It's like a 9-hour drive.
Yeah.
But
At any
it's
rate.
cheaper for you guys to fly. For us to fly, it's very expensive.
I thought your dollar goes farther these days. I thought that was happening.
Nah, farther down the toilet. That's about it.
Farther down the toilet, eh?
Yeah.
Chuck those tunes and loons right down the toilet, eh?
What are we? We're like 65 cents on the dollar now, something like that.
I don't know. Somebody won some money and they went back to Canada and it went further. I know that.
Oh yeah.
Well, no comment on the quality of the flight experience.
No.
You may be getting more for what you pay for. So
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, yeah.
Anyway.
Again, more communication. We definitely would love more communication.
Yeah, more communication would be good. And obviously, what surprised me was that these glitches happened when they've had so much experience with the huge sellouts and stuff in England. I would have thought that they would have had this stuff. The tech team would have had this stuff down pat. Like, I mean, you said it yourself, like England and stuff. What are they? They're getting like lined up of 40,000 people and having to have lotteries.
Yeah,
I would have thought this would be like an ironclad process.
Okay, here. So proposition. Since the idea of the unique special link one gets for being part of a certain training group and/or gym is kind of not really a thing.
It's a bad idea.
Do you say every gym gets 10 spots and then you at least get something for your $100 a month and you give it to your best members, or you have a lottery, or you have a competition? Like every gym gets 8 spots or 10 spots.
I'm okay with that, but I think
people are going to unaffiliate. People are going to be like, why am I bothering affiliating? Which in England they're already doing.
Yeah. I would think a lot. I mean, obviously, I would think a lot more than 10 spots, but I would be fine with that.
Do the math. Oh, sorry. Here's the other problem. Here's the other fucking problem. I'm sorry. I completely forgot this. When you say every F-45, that killed it right there, right? If every single F-45 and BFT and all these Globo gyms that they have partners with, and they get the link, then it's people who were barely even thinking about it are like, well, shit, I got the link, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the true affiliates that did it so that they could be found on the map, so that they could put on events.
So people that just went to their gym specifically to prepare for Hyrox.
Right. So should they limit them per gym, or should they just get rid of it altogether?
Whatever they got to do, the system they have is not working. And again, it's like the most leakiest code in the world. Like, gym affiliates were giving it to everybody, it's
nothing.
Yeah. Pretty much the same people that were trying to sign up after the regular release were the same people trying to sign up for the pre-sale, because everybody had that code.
Yeah.
And despite them telling the gym, stop giving it to everybody. No.
Everybody gets one.
Do you know how the internet works?
Yeah, exactly. It just takes one. Takes one person to have it, and it's gone.
Right. You give a link to more than, I'd say, one person, it's probably going to get leaked, and that's going out to thousands of people. Thousands.
Yeah. So system not a good idea. I don't mind the limiting per gym or per affiliate. I would think you'd have to set up some kind of process where it would be the local affiliates would get more, or some kind of preferential treatment to, say, like affiliates in India. I think that should be. I think the local people should somehow get preferential treatment.
I was just looking to see if there's tickets available anywhere. Just for the heck
I
of it.
will gladly sell mine for 7 times the price.
Well,
By the way,
Pay your
the whole and the flex thing bothered me too. I didn't like that.
I mean, I used it because why not?
I used it.
Everybody's gonna use it.
I didn't use it for my single ticket. I used it for my relay though, because if one guy out of 4 gets hurt, we're done.
Right.
But why not do it for your singles if you happen to get hurt or just something happens? It's like
Because
worth
then
an extra.
I just won't go. I don't care. It's just me. I don't give a shit.
Okay. I
But
mean, it
if
wasn't that
it's-
much. I thought it was going to be more. How much was it?
I think it was like $25.
Yeah, that's completely reasonable to me.
Yeah. But the thing was, I had to get it for the relay. The part that bothered me about the relay was, and Matt, you can appreciate this. I guess Cheryl, you too. Our team is a team over 40. The chances of all 4 of us making it to race day, I'm going to give it like 20%.
Yeah, roll the dice.
Yeah.
Right. But I
And now,
also think
if we could only replace 1.
right.
So
But
one
I
guy
also-
goes down, we can replace him. If 2 go down, we're boned.
Yeah. Well, I think for singles or doubles, you're pretty screwed. I think for relay, if you like snuck somebody else in there, like no one's gonna rat on you, and who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless the person.
But I mean, I'm the actual rule and the way it works.
No,
Myself,
no, it's
don't
not
like that
smart.
stuff.
You should be able to switch out as many people as you want up until the day before the race.
Yeah, and that's what I think too. Like, especially if we're paying, and I think for relays it was $40. So I think like you're paying an extra $40 for that flex thing, or and even I'm wrong, call 25, whatever it is. You're paying for that flex thing. You should be able to switch out however many. That's what we've paid for, and yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, so exhausting. It's so exhausting just thinking about what we have to do now. I just makes me
And
sad.
that's what I think, and this is the problem. This is why I think that these little things that they're not fixing and worrying about, it's going to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
You know, people
As
will
soon as
get
something else
frustrated,
shows up, you know,
Yeah,
some
people-
sexy race shows up, we're going to go for it.
and it doesn't even have to be something similar. Like people will just be like, "All right, crap, it was no good. Okay, I'm going to go do my triathlon, or I'm going to go do my half marathon because I can get my ticket and go, and I don't have to stress about it."
Yeah.
Like that, whatever, people will find something easier and less stressful to do unless you make it work for them.
Yeah.
So right now you're super hot, you're super trendy, but the problem with that stuff is trends end and it becomes what's left, that substance.
Right. Well, Dave, you and I talked, and I said 5 years, and you said 3.
Mhm.
And again, I think it really depends on, in terms of like the flattening out a little bit.
They control that. How they react to things like this controls that.
And the market, right? The other players coming in as well, right? And if somebody comes along and puts on a kick-ass event and is paying just that much more attention to the consumer, and or at least people feel that way, then oh yeah, people are gonna be like, fuck that.
Well, and I mean, you think of how different DEKA would be if they had paid out athletes on time and got some of the swag issues they had fixed.
Right.
Right.
It would be a very different scenario.
There wouldn't be the exodus that there's been.
Yeah. But even now you're seeing more and more people come back, right? So I just think that it would have stopped some problems.
Yes.
And kept a consistent growth. So
Well, this has made me decide that I'm definitely going to DEKA Worlds, which is not something I was even thinking about doing.
Yeah.
Because it's a sure thing.
yeah.
All right,
yeah.
let's roll right into DEKA Worlds then. That was an announcement
Yes.
I forgot to make. Let's roll right into DEKA Worlds. Good news for me, Florida. Good news for everybody. It's not the week of Anaheim. Now, racing back to back is hard, but at least people now have the option, which I was worried, just as everybody was, that it was going to be the same week.
Mhm.
So whether they did it on purpose or not, yay, we have a free weekend in December. And if you want to do I feel like if you qualified, you're going, because people are like, fuck it, I'm going, especially if you qualified in 2
Mhm.
categories, and especially if you live anywhere on the East Coast. People are saying, ugh, Florida. I can tell you that this place is much easier to fly into than Ocala. There's
Well,
multiple.
Dustin Needham is saying hug Florida.
No, I think other people are too. I think other people on the West Coast are like, I don't want to go back to Florida. I can see that.
But
It would be nice to sort of toggle back and forth, but it makes sense to me that they're staying East Coast, given the Spaniard interest, given the UK interest. Let's keep it something where it's accessible to them. And quite frankly, everything's basically a flight away. And so you're getting on a plane to Fort Lauderdale or you're getting on a plane to Dallas, like it's not going to make that much of a difference in the long run.
What's a flight from your area to Fort Lauderdale? How long does that take?
It's like 5 hours.
Is it 5 hours? Okay. That's longer than I thought. I thought it'd be like 3.5.
Yeah, I just flew to NorCal, and I got to tell you, unless I was going overseas, it used to not affect me, but now just that does. Like the 3 hours totally messed me up. Coming back, it messed me up. So I can understand if you live, you know, west of where you are, Cheryl, that it's a long thing. But it is a big long weekend, and it's probably worth it. So and again, it is a more accessible airport.
And they did do some things that people critiqued about Ocala. Whereas like a lot of people liked Ocala. The venue itself, a lot of people liked Ocala, but they didn't like how far it was from the airport. They didn't like you had to rent a car. There wasn't as many options for lodging. There was still quite a bit, like Airbnb style, but like not as many big hotels kicking around other than the ones that were on site. So people were like, we wanted it closer to the airport, closer to a major city, and they listened and did that. And I mean, for me, even coming from here, like Fort Lauderdale is super easy to get to for us for flights. It's probably one of the easiest places from Toronto to get to, because there's like a flight every other hour. There's constantly going down there. And then
so here's Broward County Convention Center, and there's a hotel right next to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oops. Listen, there's a cruise terminal if you take a boat there.
Oh, let's do that.
I actually been to Fort Lauderdale once before, and that's what I did. Was I was there the night before a cruise.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's a resort. You know, I mean, it's just so set up for tourism. And Dave, I don't know if you were at Atlantic City for DEKA. That was a blast because we were all in the same hotel. You just walk over, do your thing.
As long as you didn't leave the hotel.
It was awesome, right?
Yeah, don't go on the street.
No, I wasn't going out. That's for sure. But you didn't need to. And this feels like it's going to be similar. I think we're going to have a lot more fun. We're going to see each other a lot more. I think it'll be a much better experience.
Yeah. So here's the airport. You can absolutely take an Uber. Extremely close. You won't need to rent a car. And then I haven't zoomed in for hotels, but I'm sure there's a ton of them.
Oh, you're going to be packed. There are going to be hotels on every corner.
Yes.
Right.
No, so it's going to be. I think it's a much better situation.
Move right here, Embassy Suites. Let's check availability. Let's go right now. When are we going? December what?
December 5th through 7th.
All right. So if you fly in Thursday, fly out
Sunday, maybe.
Is that 306 total? That's nothing.
I can't imagine it's 306 total. That'd be amazing if it was. I think there's going to be enough options, though. It'll be really nice. It'll be a lot cheaper for people.
I think it's a good location. I think it'll be good. I don't know much about the actual venue itself. I haven't seen much for that, but I like the location. I'm down with it.
Do we know if it's going to be the same format that it's been, or is there going to be any kind of, Atlas added or anything else?
No Atlas this year. No Atlas this year.
No Atlas this year.
Okay. No. Again, and I think mostly that's due to the schedule. There's just so much to put into the 3 days that I don't think at this point they've figured out how to fit Atlas in and to make it work right, other than having it almost like as a completely separate event and a different kind of location or different area. So I just don't think they've set up enough. And I think at this point too, they need another year of people getting into it and doing it before they can commit that. I think anyway, that's what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's Fit Mile Strong Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at the DEKA numbers over the weekends, and there's like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 Atlases per weekend, and there's like 3 or 4 or 5 people doing it. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, some of these England, even strong and mile events, there's like 4 people, 5 people. So they're not all, they're not all massive. A lot of ones that a lot of people watching the show go to probably have 20, 30, 50. I know some gyms get 100. But I think they're a ways away from Atlas being a thing.
Yeah, because I just went to the Atlas a couple weeks back, or was it last week? I don't know, a little while ago at Pure Impact, and I want to say they had 6 lanes set up to do it, and I want to say they probably had in the neighborhood of probably, like you say, maybe 60 people. It was probably one of the bigger ones that have happened. So it's coming, but it is going slower. It is, slowly going. Whereas opposed to their regular strong or mile events would have over 100, maybe 150 people. So, right. But I thought that their last one was a fairly good success for Atlas. It was decently run. Well, it was really well run. I'll give actually Zach a ton of credit because he was the main dude running it. Amber was off gallivanting somewhere. No, she had commitments, but they ran it as on time as I've ever seen any event run. Like nice. you were told you're running at this time, and that's when the clock started. If you missed it, you missed it. That was on you. So
that's very nice.
And they had a really good setup. It was really well done.
Well, and I will say the way DEKA sets up their worlds is just perfect. I just love, the fit, then the mile, then the strong. The strong is such a show to finish off the weekend. It's great. So yeah, Matt, you were there in Dallas. You need to come to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, the fact that it's in Florida definitely makes it a maybe. If it was over there, it would be a no, probably for sure, just because there's so much travel for me, usually at the end of the year. But the fact that one race, which is end of November, which is Worlds, isn't World's Toughest, is happening in a few weeks. That frees up a weekend. So I'll put it at 68% right now going.
Okay. We're going to put
now actually, but that goes to 100 if I do qualify. I need to talk to my buddy Tommy, because if we qualify in at least one category, I'm definitely going.
That'll be great. You need to come.
The thing for me too is they moved it also a week earlier as well.
That's what I was going to say is not to mention Ocala was a job to get to, and it was a lot, right? Just car rental and just adding an hour to my day, just getting there and back from where my hotel was. Yeah. But it was mid-December. I hadn't even.
It was actually my birthday was on the day of the mile.
Okay.
So yeah, it was that's mid-December, December 14th. So it was 13th, 14th, 15th.
Yeah, too late.
I hadn't put up my Christmas tree yet. I hadn't done anything. I got home and I had to hustle and I was exhausted, right? Like that's just no way to have an event. Like you just don't want it to disrupt your life so badly. And I do know a lot of people who were like, look, it's just too close to Christmas. And so they just didn't come.
And again, I think that's another thing. They listened, right? They listened. They're like, yeah, people, okay, that's what they want. All right, let's do it.
Yeah. So hopefully that helps with numbers. But no, I think I'm actually looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, it'll be a good time. It'll be good.
All right, should we talk about fun one-lap course at the Berlin Tempelhof Airport?
Tired of being right.
What were you right about?
What were
outdoor Hyrox?
What's that?
Outdoor Hyrox.
Oh, bad idea for an outdoor Hyrox?
Yeah. Like
is an outdoor Hyrox dumb?
Oh, nice.
I had an amazing time in New York. Dave didn't, because Dave said negative, but I loved Hyrox New York.
Because it was silly. When they first brought out Hyrox, it was advertised as this indoor race. That was part of the appeal. That was what made it awesome. That was what all of us for most years were like, finally. We don't have to worry about the rain. We don't have to worry about the snow. We can have it any time of year. We can do this. It's great. And now they seem obsessed with trying to put them outside. Outside sucks. I'll go. It's not why the race was not designed to be run outside.
Correct.
Right. So I think it's just.
Well, how about this? If it rains in New York, we never get an outside event again, because people are saying, oh, they'll never do it. They've already had New York planned. And yes, it's going to be covered, but covered doesn't mean enclosed. And if it rains, things will still get wet. So if they get bad weather in New York, RIP outdoor events for them.
I'm very interested to how they're going to cover this. Like I know the pier has that big steel structure overhead, but are they going to put something over the entire thing?
That's what Christian said to me last year. He's like, I was too worried this whole time. Next year, we're definitely going to put the expense in, and it's going to be a 3-day event. Remember, it was only a 1-dayer.
Oh yeah. It was like 5,000 people in one day. That was part of my complaining.
Yeah. So I think they're gonna spare no expense. Sponsors are in New York. It's a whole to do. You know what I mean? Some influencers, some celebs, blah blah blah. Last year, that's where Lance went. I don't think Lance is going to be back, but I think. I think they're going to go all out for it. And like I said, if it's bad weather, then I don't think we'll ever see it again. But will they go back to Berlin, which they loved that first year? Everyone loved it. Again, the fast course.
So fast.
Well, it did look cool, right?
Yeah. I give them New York looked cool too. Great pictures.
Right.
cool cameras going over top. Oh, look at this. It's awesome. Just
right. But remember when they did it in Florida and it was on the beach? How about that?
Yeah, that was dumb too.
Well, that was definitely dumb because the times were like a minute, like the pros were doing it in like a minute 13, an hour 13 or something way back then.
Yeah. It just, I mean, to the odd person, yeah, they might like it, right? And I did get into a couple little debates online about this, and I just kind of laughed. And they're like, and people would tell me, well, don't go to the outdoor ones. And I'm like, I don't.
Right.
I'm not.
Exactly.
I just think that if I was a guy going to a Hyrox and I'm going to spend my money to go there, to travel, to get accommodations, to do that, and I show up and it's hailing and pissing rain, and I'm thinking this could have been held inside and I could have got my money's worth, I'd have been pissed.
So the fast course, the 1 lap fast course, which I would love to do sometime. Should they say, this was brought up, we've brought it up, but people brought it up online. Should they say, Dave, we know what you want. You want all LCQs, but short of that, how about, races have a little asterisk on them. This one gets one of your fastest, you know what I mean? Like there's 70 races a year, 50 of them are ones you can get a queue time in. And here's the ones we think you shouldn't for these various reasons. The one in the fucking, the one on the mountain, no one's going to get. The one track one, no one's going to get. Like, and then, you know what I'm saying? What do you think about that? A little queue next to them.
You're talking about the talk that people are saying for a standardized course. And if it is a standardized course, then it gets the asterisk and you are
allowed. The courses itself isn't standardized because we know they can't do that. But as close as we can, we pick ones. We know that 1 lap. I made a joke. I sent it to Ian when somebody bragged about beating their time by 7 minutes. I'm like, you don't think it's the fact that you ran 8 times instead of 24? Like it's okay. Like it's okay. Like just acknowledge it. Like, yes, you probably put in your best effort. You also ran the fastest course. Just acknowledge it. So anyway, I'm saying should they? It's more like, what are you disqualifying? Like of the 70 next year, it's going to be a fucking 100 of the 100 races. Here's 80 that you can get a qualifying time at. And these other 20, we don't think so for these various reasons. Venue's too small. Glasgow was especially fast. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
They fucked up.
They said that was just flat out short. Like the course was just short.
Right. So then, that's after the facts. That's a bad example. But you know what I'm saying. What about that as an idea, Dave? Would you entertain that even though it's not as good as your idea? Would you entertain it?
Are you asking me or Cheryl first?
I'm asking Dave first. If you would entertain it as an idea, 80 of the 100 you can qualify at.
Why when I have the right answer would I settle for an answer that's slightly more wrong?
Are you familiar with the phrase?
There's no other suggestion to this point makes any sense. It's just overcomplicated nonsense to avoid doing the one way that they just proved this year works perfectly. The doubles worked perfectly. The doubles. Did anyone have any problem with the qualification system for the doubles?
So, Dave, you're saying no more majors.
Have the majors, just like they did the doubles this year. Exactly like they did the doubles, but do that for the individuals.
Well,
top three get in, and you roll it down if they're already in. Do that 4 times and you call it
5 times. 5 times.
Why 5?
I cannot see
15. 15 divided by 3 is 5.
I cannot see Hyrox giving up the spectacle of a grid race.
It's the exact same thing. The spectacle of the grid race, and I've heard this before. What's the difference between a grid race and a regular race now?
Well, the difference is that they don't have to compete.
They televise the grid races?
That's the difference, is they televise the grid races. But if you go to a grid course and a normal course, the only extra things on the grid, you do both the sleds in the same grid. Big deal. They're usually side by side anyway. There's no difference there. It doesn't make it easier to follow or easier to broadcast. What else do they do in the grid? The burpee broad jump. That's quite easy to follow. Normally, they've done that other places where it's been followed fine, and with the doubles. Farmers carry is no longer on the grid. So it's no different. The grid is of no advantage for broadcast anymore. And if it is, it's so minimal that it's not even worth thinking about.
So you're saying just have people try to qualify for world championships by running in a pro wave with everybody else. And there's a bunch of open doubles out there and people who've never tried it before. And people in the fast lane.
Run your pro wave for men and women a day before.
Okay.
Just like they do with the regular one. But yes, you have nothing but pro waivers out there. And you can, because we do know Hyrox can do this, despite the fact they don't, align the waves according to times. It's super easy, but they refuse to do it. But yes, that's why I say to Matt, when you say, what about this, what about this, what about this, what about all these funky systems, why settle for something that is slightly more right when I know what is the absolute right answer and which has been proven to be the right answer?
I think the doubles qualifications were really fun to watch, but not as fun as having kind of that special night with everybody sitting in the bleachers.
You still have it.
Watching people on the grid. I don't know. So you're saying that the night before, do that.
Just like they already do. But you'll have more people there.
We just have to walk around. We can't sit. We just have to walk around. That's the difference.
If you put them right, the only thing, like I said, the only difference is you're going to have the burpee broad jump in a slightly different location and the sleds in a slightly different location.
So you're going to take everybody who wants to be part of the Elite 15 and you're going to seed them in these races according to their times, according to their finished times.
Yep, you can totally see them that way.
Berlin is going to go ahead of somebody who didn't race in Berlin because they ended up with a faster time.
That's right, and they'll be completely exposed.
Well, you could still.
And who cares?
Fastest,
so even if they are, then you can still qualify from the wave back. It doesn't matter.
You could seed by fastest too.
You could seed by fastest too. You could seed by however you want to seed it. You could seed it by popular demand. It really doesn't matter. The point is, by the end of the race, you're going to have the right people qualify. And this was the thing I heard before when I presented this: is they're like, tell me who's not in it that should be. And you could never answer that question because you don't know. But again, now, the girl who just won the LCQ, she wasn't going to be in this with
Emily Van Damen.
Emily Damen.
That's right. She was not Van
Damen. Like she's related to Jean-Claude. Sorry.
So yeah, I think it's from day one. I don't know when the first podium was. It was probably 3 years ago. The first time.
Dave, you've convinced me because you're right. The ergs are already over here. The farmer's carry's already over here. You're 100% right. You just set up some fixed cameras for the runs, so that's not as sexy. But who cares? Because who cares about the runs anyway? For the most part,
screen.
Yeah,
picture.
Dave, you've convinced me.
Cheryl, you will still get the pump. You'll still get the circumstance. You'll get the exact same thing.
I want 15 top people to race. I don't want to have to wait for a number of waves. I'd like to be able to see. I'd like to be able to not.
Well, they should. If they seed it right, it probably won't happen.
If Cheryl, I'm going to give you everyone in the race, and I'm going to tell you pick 30.
Right.
Do you not think 30. You can pick the top 3 out of that?
I probably, but I will just say that I understand their desire for more than just one race, that it's just a small group of people that we're all rooting for because they want the stories, they want to be able to follow people through. And so I do see some argument for having a qualifying course. There are enough venues that are big enough that you can have a 2-lap course that has the basic footprint. We're starting to see basically the same footprint in a lot of these, venues, where you could say this is a qualifying course that if you get a certain time, then those top 15 times would qualify for a major so that they could still have their majors. They could still have all the kind of special storylines that they want.
How do you qualify to race in the qualifier?
Oh, that would be open.
So that's just open.
That's the open.
Okay, so anybody can jump into that, and then that qualifies you for the majors.
Exactly.
All right.
Because look, I just feel like
I just think you're just taking one step and just moving it halfway down. It just seems unnecessary to me.
And the reason
it's necessary if you want it to be pretty and in a good package.
But you can still
it wouldn't change a bit.
Listen, you can still create storylines around who does well, who you might think is an underdog. Just like, listen, the CrossFit Games has 40 people in it every year, and we're pretty sure who those top people are, but once in a while, somebody sneaks through. So
you're still add the Cinderella story as a possibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but then you're saying, for instance, Lauren Weeks. She goes to one of these races that you're talking about, and she wins and she qualifies. There's literally no reason for her to go to any other race now except for the World Championships.
Why does she do it now? Lauren Weeks qualified the first race. Why does she go to the rest of the majors?
So for the money?
Yeah. It's going to be the exact same, nothing different.
And so there would just be a roll down like there is now, where she would just win again.
Yeah, the money, competition, eyes on sponsors, all those things. All those things.
Identical. There's almost no. The only visible change for us viewing is there'd be more people in the wave.
I'm over here with Dave now. Dave, you've convinced me.
Yeah, there'd be more people in the wave.
Over here now.
Right? That's the only thing. More people in the wave, and again, it's completely fair.
Yeah, get exposed. Like it's like you said, like show up, think you're a badass. I mean, listen, we're gonna see a DEKA Worlds, right? Like I've seen there are 2 men above Kevin in strong right now. I think.
Yeah,
I've never heard of.
Right.
And hey, man, we'll see you at Worlds, bro.
Right. Okay, I will concede. Put me next to Dave. Put Dave in the middle. I will concede. Look, he's got a point. I just feel like Berlin feels like the nail in the coffin for the current qualifying system. They just need to do something different. If messes like this there's no way they can stand on what they've been doing.
So when they said it last year, when they said, and I remember Matt talking with you, and you said, how do I like this new qualification system with the 2 averages? And I said, it's better and yet a huge step in the wrong direction. Because it was direction. Yes, because it was going towards, if it worked better, then they'd keep going that way, as opposed to going the way that I believe is right, arrogantly say is right. So that was them stepping the other way, where to get a little bit of an improvement, when instead they could have went the way where I think it would have been absolutely fixed.
So this was their opportunity to learn and grow and change.
Yes. They would never admit it. Dave, you were right. But if it changes next year, we'll know that they were like, oh shit, we thought about this, and maybe
and I don't need to be right. I don't care if I'm right.
You'd rather it be good.
I'd rather it be fixed.
Exactly.
We can be fixed, and Matt can be right, or Meg Jacoby can be right. Anybody can be right. I don't care, just as long as it's fixed.
Right. Probably after Worlds, we'll find out. I would very much hope that if they keep it the same way, then it's just going to look really bad.
And here's my money. My money's on it'll be somewhat similar to this year, and then because wheels are already in motion, it's too late now.
But it's not too late. They haven't even announced where the majors are.
I know. But from their minds, they would already have had wheels in motions, things happening, everything going on. So I don't think that they will change that drastically unless they already had it planned. I think Berlin is too late to affect it.
I've got money that there will still be majors. I just think there will be different ways to qualify.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I agree, but it won't be as substantial as what I'm suggesting.
No.
Dave, where would you rank this decision on a Spartan level of general incompetence? Where would you rank it?
The decision to stick with this
this is always my bar, right? Is that I've been tortured by this company that I love, right? Over the years of like just kind of tolerating bad decisions and things that get fixed or don't get fixed. I'm just curious. And I gave Hyrox for the longest time. I was like, hey, it's better than Spartan. Hey, it's better than Spartan. So now where are you ranking this lack of backing off?
Again, this is not so much like this horrible bonehead decision, right? This is not like it's something that like makes no sense at all. There is a logic to it, right? I just believe that the logic is faulty. And I don't think okay, so I'm going to put it in the middle. We'll put it like a 5 or a 6. All right. It's not like a 10 level of craziness. So I just think that they had this vision in the beginning when they first did this, and they had this vision of the times qualifying, and they're working so hard and diligently to try to make that work. When it's become obvious to some of us that wasn't the way to go ever. As soon as they established they cannot produce the same course over and over and over again, as soon as that was established, that should have been abandoned, and we should have went, okay, head to head is the way we got to go. But they are very much determined and to a certain point stubborn, and we are going to make these times work somehow where our times can qualify. And that's just really believing in your point.
Well,
on a scale of, let's try this, on a scale of Woodsy touching the truss or your friend skirting the mud,
it's much lower.
What is the Sean Noble wall ball situation? Where would you?
Oh, the Sean Noble wall ball situation is pretty high. I'm gonna put it right up there with those ones.
Who was it? Who was it? Who was it? The skirt of the mud.
Mick,
Who was
Mick
it?
Torello.
Mick Torello skirting the mud and the truss, kind of in the same
Yeah.
ballpark.
Yeah. Well, at least the truss, as dumb as it was actually in the rule book. So I mean, but yeah.
Listen, I gotta give love to the old school fans. You know, we have a lot of OCR people who still who watch, so gotta give them some point of reference.
Yeah, the Mick Torello decision, that kind of put me on the map, that one, because I got it overturned.
Good job.
Yeah.
Look at that. And now look at you. You're a head judge for DEKA. Or what's your title?
Same people that I got from the same people that I overturned. They're like, hey, yeah, he knows how to read that rule book. So yeah, I don't think, like I said, the qualification system not high on the mess up list. I just disagree with it and think there's a better way. But yeah, that Sean Noble thing, that's pretty high on the mess up list to me.
Definitely.
There are mosquitoes all over my computer. I don't know if they're on the lens or not. I hope they're
not.
No,
we can't see the bugs, so it's good.
Oh my God.
I will just say this. I do wonder.
Like Hyrox, Matt, it should be done indoors.
That's right. Is podcasting outdoors dumb?
Yeah, it is.
Get back over there, Dave.
There you go.
The only other thing I will say about this is I do wonder if, the Hyrox hill to die on. Oh, good heavens! The Hyrox hill to die on is that this is about being able to improve our times. And so it is all about times. And that's why people are complaining about Berlin, raining, right? Because then you can't get your finish time that you want. And so to set aside times, I can see might be difficult for them. And yet it is a reality that they're going to need to figure out going forward.
The two options, set aside times or universalize the course.
Right.
Well, but they're never going to universalize the course.
No, I don't believe
they can't. And so to accede that and to make that decision.
Unless here's the way to do it. Think back, ladies and gentlemen, way back. See if you can go a journey in your minds to a time known as COVID. In 2020 and 2021, we put
the assault runners.
No. We put events in the bubble, right? So like all the basketball games are played in one place. So yeah, we'll just have 100 Hyroxes, right? Just in one spot. Like
Atlanta?
Where did they do Fight Island? Where do they do that? That's where they'll put all the Hyrox races. And you just every weekend there's like 10 heats, 10 heats a day, whatever, or 10 different, you just jump in.
They could put it on a cruise ship and just take people to different port, pull up to a different port.
Did you just sneak onto my next favorite topic I want to talk about?
You want to talk about the cruise ship?
I 100% want to talk about the Hyrox cruise. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2015 or 16, Spartan held the Spartan Cruise, which I was lucky enough to go on. And they clearly lost their shirt. They thought people would want to do it. And by the end of it, the cruise company was giving away basically tickets to help fill the cruise. So you got a lot of not necessarily as fit people on this cruise, which had Joe DeSena show up and go, why are all these people eating and drinking so much? I thought this was supposed to be a Spartan cruise. And we went to this little island and we had a race and it was a good time. And many of us laugh and joke about what a time it was. Certain people will tell you some stuff went down late night that they're still embarrassed about. I went to bed early. I wasn't one of those people, but it's gone down as this legendary thing. Remember the Spartan Cruise? What a wacky idea that was. Cause of course it never happened again. So I heard Hyrox Cruise. I'm like, sign me the fuck up. Your thoughts, Cheryl Snow?
I think I don't want to be stuck on a boat with all those folks. It's just a lot of shirtless dudes. I don't know. It seems like a lot. I mean, you think about how exhausted you are after one day at one of these events and just having that kind of energy all the time. What was he talking about? How we're going to go on this cruise. There's going to be all these Hyrox athletes. We're going to have all these workouts and stuff like that. I don't know. That sounds like a lot. I think there are going to be some people, the people who sign up for the after party at Worlds, who are staying up till 4:30 in the morning. That's what this boat's for.
Sodom and Gomorrah. This will be the biggest cruise of debauchery ever held. And 9 months after this cruise, there will be so many unplanned babies born. It'll be unreal. But here's the thing though, the difference between the Spartan Cruise and the Hyrox cruises, I think Hyrox is okay with that. They are that party lifestyle. They're down with that. Joe was like, "This is terrible. This is horrible. We don't want this." Hyrox, they like the party. I think they know what it's going to be, and they're okay with that.
Yeah, Cheryl, I guess I hadn't thought about that part, about how I like to go to my hotel room and just completely decompress. But I think you can kind of do the same thing here. You can go to your cabin, right?
Sure. I just don't think they will. There's going to be just a lot of pressure to just sort of be part of everything. What's the programming going to be like? Like, how many activities are we
Well,
going to be
interestingly, that they said part of the advertisement was, we're going to have this, we're going to have that, and most of the Elite 15 athletes. So is that because they're going to pay them to be there? They're going to hold them hostage? Like, they're clearly making a declaration. Like, we're not promising which ones, but we know we're going to get some there. So that seems like an odd one. I wonder how they feel. We should ring them up.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, like, to be an Elite 15 and then to be expected to like hang out on a boat with people fawning all over you for days on end. I don't know. That
Hey,
sounds
man,
like
listen.
This is totally Lauren Weeks' scene. Absolutely.
I wanted to find the video where he talked about it. Where's that video? Because that was just the one.
I think it's on the regular
Hyrox. Story. He had a story.
No, I think it's real. I think it's real.
Okay.
Was it real?
I think so. But I just like.
Look, this is we are not their target demographic. Look at us. We are so old.
And that's what I think this will be more successful than the Spartan Cruise, because I think that they know what it's going to be going in and that they're okay with that.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who are going to absolutely love it. And
we talked about, like I said, I've said a lot of things about Hyrox today unfavorably. And this cruise is, you are absolutely right, not for me, not for you, no interest whatsoever. But I think it does have a market. And I think they know what that market is, and that market will pay.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got the resources. They go to Hyrox races.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of location, that was the thing. It was in Florida last time. So I had a quick flight to Miami, and then I hopped on the boat. I don't know if I want to fly to Germany to then get on a boat. That's a good point.
Yeah. So is it like going around the Mediterranean or something? Do we know?
I would think.
I was just trying to find some. Let me look on here. I was trying to find it on my laptop.
Yeah, I mean, I would like, it would be a solid reality TV show.
Really solid reality.
Cameras everywhere, and money will roll right in.
I just had this sort of picture in my head of them actually having a course on one of the floors, right? Like you could.
Well, that has to be one of the things, right?
Right. There would be a full-on race going on at some point. So yeah, I don't know.
Do it the first day.
Oh, here we go. Hang on.
You have probably seen it yesterday when we announced our first Hyrox cruise. I'm very happy to give you maybe a little bit more context today. The most important one is that we rented basically this whole wonderful cruise ship here, Mein Schiff 4, from a beautiful TUI Cruises fleet. And we can truly say it's probably the biggest floating gym the world has ever seen. 4 days of intense training with the best coaches, most of our Elite 15 athletes. Truly one of the most exciting experiences and gatherings we have done so far. This is a unique experience designed for those who love the sport, who love fitness, and who love the community. Sign up for our newsletter, and you will be the first one who gets the information.
Okay, so here's what happened. Much like these CVBs and cities give money, clearly TUA or the German tourism, blah blah blah, we're like, we're going to give you $2 million fucking bucks. Put on an event here. We want to turn people onto these cruise ships, and here's why. And yeah, I think it will be a party boat, and I think I am less interested now the more you talk about it. But again, I kind of feel like it's my journalistic media like responsibility to be there.
I want you to go and send us footage. That's what I want.
Well, again, remember, I go to bed early though still, so I'm not going to see the debauchery. But
listen to what he said. He said 4 days of intense training.
Right.
That's the draw for people. Now, I will say I went to RMR training camp 2 years in a row because anywhere Rich Ryan is, I'm going to be, right? So I showed up, and the first year we had, it was basically 2 days, and we had, I think, a total of 3 workouts, and I was pretty tired, after it. The next year they added a day, so it was more like 3 days, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 serious workouts. And that's not, that's not adding like the trail runs and, stuff like that we did. We were exhausted by the end. Like there's a point where you've got Meg Jacoby. She's like, all right, we're going to do a strength. And we're like, really? Like, okay. We were just not necessarily, we were a little worried that we weren't going to be able to handle it. And so 4 days of intense training,
I think like any cruise or convention, it's like, here's your options. Monday morning, strength training with Dylan Scott, Tuesday this. And it's like you just sort of pick and choose. And then each night is a different sponsors party. Shapes has the party on Sunday. Like, I think it's going to be more like that. Like you kind of choose. And now that you think about it, is it big enough to have a whole race? It has to be, right? Yeah.
They're not having a whole race.
No, so it sounds like, they are just doing seminars like what you're talking about. Like,
I love that it's some of the Elite 50. I just love how they phrased that, though. Like, first of all, we don't even know who it's going to be. October 26th, the Elite 15 could be totally shaken up between now and then.
I mean, Berlin alone could shake that up. So you just never know who it's going to be. Matt, you have to go so you can tell us what happened.
I feel like I do need to go. So hopefully I'll be able to get a ticket.
All right. So would you rather get in a hot tub on a Carnival cruise at like 4 p.m. when all the kids are running around, or a hot tub on the Hyrox cruise at 4 a.m. after all the debauchery?
I just don't know how communicable most STDs are.
I guess I want a question for the listeners to chime in and the viewers to chime in. I'd never been on a cruise before. Okay. And I got on that Spartan one. And then as it turned out, or no, a year before, a friend of mine says, hey, my family does a cruise every year. We invite some friends. Would you want to come? And the kids were small and we did it. But that's when I first realized that there's people who, pay the extra $200 and they drink unlimited and they eat unlimited. Like it's the opposite of healthy. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's where I kind of learned. And when I saw it again on the Spartan one, I was like, oh, this is what this is. It's like being at Disney World or Vegas. No offense, Cheryl. This is where a lot of unfit people go to fucking gorge themselves.
Right.
So the question is, do Europeans treat cruises the same way? Like, will they? Yes. Obviously, it'll be Americans there as well. But like when the Euros go on ships, are they slightly healthier than we are? That's my question.
I'm just picturing vats of chicken and rice.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, do you want a glimpse inside my mind? Would you like to hear from Merlin, my expert on everything?
Okay, Merlin.
Let's see what Merlin has to say. Hang on. Why does it say log in? How do I get logged out? Because he knows everything.
Here, I'm going to try an experiment while Matt tries it. Hey, Rye. I can go to the Hyrox cruise, but you can't go. How do you feel about that? She said no.
Your wife likes Hyrox, though.
Yeah.
I do what?
Hey, I have a question for you about cruises.
Sure. What's your question about cruises?
So typically Americans go on cruises and they eat and drink and kind of gorge themselves. It's kind of like a heavier set of the population. Are European cruises known for the same thing, or are they healthier?
There's definitely a cultural difference. While American cruises often emphasize all-you-can-eat buffets and non-stop drink packages, European cruises tend to place a bit more emphasis on balanced meals, regional cuisine, and a more leisurely dining experience. That said, there's still plenty of indulgence on European cruises, but it might come with a bit more focus on quality over quantity. The crowd can also vary, with European cruises sometimes attracting a more diverse age range and a slightly different vacation vibe.
Hey, I'm actually currently on a podcast with Cheryl and Dave. Do you want to say hi?
Hey, Cheryl and Dave. Great to meet you both. Hope you're having an awesome chat.
Always awesome, Merlin. Thank you.
And mine has a British accent because, of course, he does. Yours can have whatever you'd like. So yeah, that's kind of what I thought. But yeah, I think it will be debauchery. I think it also will be people who just worship Hyrox, though, right? Like these people that just fucking. They may not be partiers, but they're going to be. Yeah, the Kool-Aid, I almost said window lickers, the Kool-Aid drinkers, right? They will 100% like be all about it, right? Again, especially if you already live over there.
And they'll have a great time.
Well, we hope.
Yeah, I think they will.
Let's
I
see how
honestly think they
quickly-
will.
Yeah, let's see how quickly this sells out. I am very curious to see how quickly it sells out.
Yeah, I think Hyrox knows their audience better than Joe knew his audience.
Yes,
That's for sure.
yes, I think that's true.
So
But
you're
yeah.
not going either, Cheryl.
We are not their target demographic. I'm trying to think of, look, I loved hybrid camp. I would go again in a heartbeat. Like, I like that kind of low key stuff. You give me low key stuff and I'm definitely there. And most of Hyrox is not low key, unfortunately. So small doses.
All right, more to come on that. What have we not covered? I feel like we covered almost everything.
I just want to ask you guys about the relay. And now that we have the relay, teams.
I have something to report from that, actually, but then I'll let you go.
Well,
I spoke to one Dylan Scott today.
Okay.
I called him for an unrelated issue, and he said, I want to talk to you about, he said, I thought you were calling me about relays. And I said, are you worried about your doubles time if you race it? Or are you just like, fuck it, we ball? He's like, oh yeah, it's fuck it, we ball. If you get the opportunity to race for your country, you do it. Speaking personally, he said that. And I said, I can argue with you there. I can also say that I was genuinely surprised by the amount of Elite 15 athletes that did say yes. There are still some that said no. I think Dylan admitted that Rich was asked and said no.
Oh, he did. Okay.
I think Paleo might have had something to do with that. Like, we're winning this fucking thing. How dare you?
Because he was on Greg's podcast and he sort of acted like he was open to doing it. And so it made me think that this team isn't the first pick of everybody. You know what I mean?
Well, I wouldn't say that unless Dylan said he could already admit it, because someone even said, someone commented like, why are they picking you over Rich? And he of course said, I don't know. But he told me I could totally say that. But yeah, I was surprised. Am I surprised that Lauren said yes? Of course not. But it's clearly personality based. But I did think, so I said, are you worried that it will affect your time? He's like, absolutely, it's going to affect my time. He goes, but I also get to race my partner. I'm excited about that. His partner is
Jeremy.
And so he's like, I get to race my partner, and then we get to race with each other. And if you get to race for your country, why the fuck not? So that's why most of these guys are doing it.
Yeah. Well, Dylan's so volume.
He's a gamer.
Yeah. Like he can do anything.
Yeah. You're not going to intimidate Dylan with extra volume.
Right. Like he can do this. It's not, and plus he'll have like a full 24 hours before, like, isn't the doubles race like at 10 o'clock at night or something on Saturday night? Like, it's really, really late from what I heard from another podcast. So he's going to have a lot of time to recover from a very short effort.
There are other podcasts besides Dave and mine. I didn't even know that.
I try to stay up on stuff so I can be interesting. Right. So, but are we surprised that Hunter's on the team? I personally surprised. Oh, I hate to say that. Why are you so afraid of Hunter?
I will just say we don't know who was asked first, who was asked second, who was asked third. We don't know those things. So you have no idea if he was the first one asked or if he was a little further down the list or what the case may be. So, and I mean, I will say it straight out, he wouldn't have been my first choice. So it's possible he wasn't theirs.
Is there any station he's the best in the world at after a run?
Ski.
Okay. So would you pick him on your team for that alone? Because he has to do one more, right?
Possibly. I mean, yeah, I think, he's a real heavy hitter. I don't think he's going to necessarily, I mean, he's not a bad choice.
No.
I'm just throwing it out there as a question.
Because my first thought was ski, right?
There was a time that he was the best at most of them after a run.
Right. So he's great at ski. Obviously, Meg is wall balls, right? Like, I mean, you've got some definite, people there, but I don't know. I just think, I wonder who the A team was. I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
Lauren, Meg, Dylan, Hunter, those are 4 Elite 15 athletes, correct?
Right. Yes.
Germany, Tim, Linda, Sika, Yannick. So that's Tim and Linda, or Sika as well?
Sika as well.
Sika as well, yeah.
Okay. Yannick, is he in?
I don't know.
I don't think Yannick made it.
Italy is Camilla, Gloria, who I don't know, Eugenio, and Samuel. And Camilla didn't make it this year, right?
And neither did Eugenio.
It's none of those folks. Mexico, I don't know any of these people. Sorry. Aldo, Marianne, Karen, German, Flores. And now we're in a bunch of countries I've not heard of. So we should go back to the UK is, who's the UK team?
I haven't even looked, but I'm going to guess it's Kate, Zara, Sandy's out. So
No, I thought they picked him anyway. Jake did it last year.
Jake, I could see Jake in it for sure.
Jake, well, how about both Jakes? Or
yeah, Jake. I don't know.
Dearden has to be one of them because he's in the Elite 15.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Jake was the captain.
There you go.
Yeah, Jake is the captain.
So have they announced UK yet? I didn't think
it
they
looks
had.
like it looks like they haven't, but a lot more than I thought. I thought they were all going to say no.
Yeah.
I think it's more about the ones that are really focused on the doubles and think they have a shot at winning the doubles. Those would be the ones like Rich, for example, who would maybe reconsider it. And I know that if I had my eye on the doubles and that was me and my partner, and this is our goal, we got a chance to win, we got a chance to podium, this is our big deal, and you're asked to do the relay, I'm probably saying no because my partner is counting on me. And the doubles are so close that even if I'm 1 second off, that could be the difference between the podium and not being on the podium. So I need to be at my best. So yeah, that would, if I was, for example, if I was in Rich's situation, I absolutely would have said no to the relay.
But Lauren, Meg, and Dylan are all like, I'm doing it. God,
and different strokes for different folks. And I will say this, that like, you know, as much as Lauren have their eye on the doubles, I don't think that's not their priority.
Well, it's not only not their priority, but I think about who came in and their times that came in over and above what the Laurens did, right? Like, and I know that Lauren Griffith was sick, and I really can't wait to see how well they do. They still have a chance, but I do think that, you know, you don't see. I don't know if Joanna's going to, you know, race the relay, right? Like,
no, I think Joanna is doing the relay.
I think Joanna's the captain.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's right. See,
and by the way, if you're Hyrox, that's one pretty good way to get somebody to do it. It's like, would you like to be the captain of the country?
By the way, I can't believe I left Lucy Proctor off the England team. Sorry.
Right.
Move.
So it's probably Kate, Lucy, and at least one of the Jakes, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, if you ask Joanna, hard to say no to that, right?
I wouldn't say no if I was deliberate. If I was,
and you're 20 years old and you're indestructible fucking anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, give me a break. We're talking like a bunch of old people.
She's fully recovered within 45 minutes, right? So
exactly.
Yeah.
So you ready? You ready for the hard choice that Joanna has?
Okay.
Have they announced the Australian team yet?
No, I don't think so.
So you're Joanna. You're picking the Australian team.
Right.
Okay.
Are you taking Tia or are you taking Jess Petro?
Well, she's definitely going to take Tia. I mean, it's a tough one, but she's going to take Tia.
Jess Petro is an Elite 15 athlete.
Well,
no, I'm just saying that's not an easy call. That's not an easy decision.
I'm not saying it's an easy decision. I'm saying that you've got at your disposal a weapon, as they would say, known as the 7-time fittest woman on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I think the same reason you get a chance to run for your country, you do it. You get a chance to run with Tia, you do it.
And especially,
and Jess would be like, "Why are you picking me?" Even Jess would say that.
Yeah, I think especially for a short effort, it's Tia, right? Like just running 1K and doing a station. That's exactly who you want. But how nice that she has so many options.
Okay. Yeah. Too bad. It's not on Sunday though. I still wish it's on Sunday.
Well, I think all of us are going to be gone by Sunday afternoon, so we can just watch it Friday night and watch Saturday night and have a leisurely breakfast on Sunday and head home.
I have a little pity for the captains of these teams because one, difficult thing to do to pick a team at any time. But number two, captains were announced when, and then the teams had to be finalized by, like, they did not have a lot of time to put their teams together and to make decisions, and not just make decisions, but make the decision and go, oh, that person's not available. Now I got to get another, I think that was really hard for them to do. And I got a lot of pity for them having to be put in a situation of no win on that one.
It's hard to be in charge.
I wish they had, considering we knew how long this was going to go on, like how long we've known this was going to happen. I wish they had picked the captains a little bit earlier and given the people a little more time so they could organize their team.
Yeah, very good. Matt, do you have a drone that's, or is that just a giant bug?
You can hear that?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can do that.
That is someone doing some edging across the street. And
Oh, okay.
if I try, hang on. Can you hear it now?
All right.
No.
No, much better.
I
Much
just turned
better.
the mic. I just turned the mic way down.
Yeah.
I thought like the government was surveilling you with a drone. Yeah, now it's
Good time now. Good time now. Dave, I think you're right. I think it's hard to be a captain. I think they've done a good job picking their teams.
So Maria is Canada's captain. Has there been anybody else chosen for Canada?
I you know what? I don't know if she's publicly announced the team yet or
Oh,
not.
are you saying you know and you don't want to tell us?
Probably.
Okay, that's fine.
And you know what? I mean, I like.
Is one of them you? Are you one of them?
Yes, indeed. I will be doing the what am I going to do? I'm going to do the first leg, the run and the ski. I think that's me.
Dave? When you do when you run doubles,
Yeah,
Dave. What are you running the laps at? What are you running your Ks in your K laps?
whatever Riley wants to run them at.
Have you not run doubles with anybody else?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's whatever she wants to run at. Generally, we have the same system that a lot of people have. I start the zone, finish the zone. She does some in the middle, and we go from there.
That's like me and Cheryl. She starts and ends, and I do some in the middle.
The co-pilot sets the pace for the runs.
Right?
Yes, exactly, 100%. And yeah, so yeah. Now I will admit there was a couple of times that I'm like, okay, you got to give me a couple of seconds, like give me like 20 seconds to recover from this zone, and then we can get up to pace. And the last time we ran, she absolutely dominated the lunges, which I needed, so that was really good. She did a lot more than her share there. So yeah, but she dictates the pace.
What do you think you would run it at if you did solo?
I don't know. We're going to find out in Toronto.
Have you never done a solo?
Nope.
Oh man,
No,
great!
I'm going to do my first pro solo in Toronto, and to be honest, I mean, I want to go sub 90 is pretty much all I'm aiming for, and it should be attainable for me. But it has not been a focus of my training, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to guess if you're asking me what I'll run there, I'm probably going to run it around that 5-minute pace.
What is your focus of your training right now?
Relay for DEKA Worlds. We got podiums to sweep.
To sweep, he said.
Yeah, we're hitting all three. We want to get on all three podiums. So, and then I'll probably also be doing the ruck strong. I think I'll be qualified for 6 or 7 different categories, but I'm going to do 3 or 4.
Okay. All right. I think we can wrap it up.
Yep. I'm just glad Cheryl's going to be there now, and most likely Matt.
Most likely. So fun. We're going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a cruise ship without the boat.
I think that there's a really good sushi restaurant right on the beach in Fort Lauderdale that I went to last time I was there, provided it still exists, because that was probably a decade ago.
Just what I need is raw fish right before my race. Perfect.
Yes. Absolutely.
After. Just do it after. All right, guys. Talk soon.
Take care.